Well, good morning, church. Welcome to another Wednesday morning reflection. Welcome to my home office. So we talked last Sunday about how Jesus challenged the Pharisees and really pushed up against legalism, right? He said that, understand that the Sabbath and the rules were not meant to bury people under the weight of obedience. They were to guide us to God. And he talks about how God is a God who desires mercy and not sacrifice. And so we kind of know where Jesus stands on legalism. Well, there's another term that's kind of the opposite of legalism. If you have legalism on one side, which overemphasizes the law, then you have what's called anti-nomianism on the other. And I'll say that again, anti-nomianism. It basically just means against the law. And here's the thing: if you're a legalist, you emphasize religious performance and following the rules to the detriment of people. If you're an antinomian, you reject all rules at all and all laws at all, so that you think you should kind of be free to do whatever you want. Tim Keller put it this way: if you think legalism is simply too much of an emphasis on the law, then you're going to think that the antidote is to talk about less obedience and more about acceptance and forgiveness. But on the other hand, if you think that antinomianism is simply too loose an attitude toward morality and law, you'll assume the remedy is to talk less about mercy and acceptance and more about God's righteousness and holiness. And here's the problem with both sides. He writes this: in short, you will try to cure one with a dose of the other. That will be a disaster because both of them have the same root cause. Okay, let me just clarify that one more time. People who believe that to earn God's affection is all about obeying the law, and people who think that to earn God's acceptance and favor is only about forgiveness and acceptance, he says this: both come from the belief that God does not really love us or will our joy. And they come from a failure to see that both the law and the gospel are expressions of God's grace. So Tim Keller's point is that both the law and grace and how Jesus fulfills the law for us, they're both a means of grace. That even the laws, when you look at the Old Testament, even those laws are a means of grace. And I know you're wondering, I'm with you, how is the law, especially the Old Testament laws, go read Leviticus, go read parts of Deuteronomy, Exodus chapter 20, how are those a means of God's grace? Well, one way is this: these laws were never meant for people to obey in order to earn salvation. It was an expression of salvation that they've already received. You see, when we get the Ten Commandments, right, the kind of most clear, richest, fullest, like chunkiest, right, like fattest, I don't know what words to use, but description of God's law and his character and his heart, it comes in Exodus 20 after Israel's already been saved from Egypt. You see, Israel is the one that wanted to know more about God. God, we want to be like you. We want what we do to resemble who you are. And God says, okay, fine. If you want to do that, here's the law. Here's your guidance in how to be holy, how to be like me. And so if you want to be like me, here are the rules. And Israel couldn't do it. And all of human history couldn't do it. And Jesus comes and he obeys the law. He fulfills it. And so the question I think for us this morning to kind of nibble on is, how are we experiencing the grace of Christ in being free from having to use the law, free from having to feel like the more I obey, the more I earn God's love? Right? How are we free this morning as we listen to this reflection? How are we free from having to prove ourselves, having to earn ourselves at the table of the Lord? Some of us, when we go to Thanksgiving dinner, maybe there's a little bit of tension there. Maybe there's this kind of feeling that, we're kind of hurting right now this season. And like we talked about Sunday, maybe you're questioning your self-worth, your ability, your value at the table. Well, God says no. The grace is that you don't need to earn a spot. I've earned a spot for you. And on the other hand, right? How do we push against anti-nomianism, which says, I don't believe in any rules at all? What are the rules and guidelines we set for ourselves to ensure that we're continuing to walk with the Lord? One practical way to think about this weekend is, what's your Sabbath like? What's your rest like? And now we're free from, having to perfect the Sabbath in order to earn a position at God's table, right? Jesus taught us that this past Sunday. The Sabbath was made for us. So how are we carving out time to just sit with the Lord? Maybe it's just a couple of worship songs you're listening to. Maybe it's just cracking open your Bible. Maybe it's spending time in prayer. Maybe it's going for a walk with your family and just reflecting on the blessings that we have. So no matter exactly how we do it, we're free to kind of make up our own laws, right? Make up our own guidelines in a way that pleases the Lord. And so what are those things? I don't know, church. We're all a little bit different. But I pray that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hopefully you can spend some time considering the love of the Lord that's been poured out for us. So church, really thankful for you. I hope you have a great time, whether you're with family, whether you're with friends, or maybe even if you're alone. Please know that the Lord is with you and he will never leave you. All right. Love you, church. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye.